The year was 2573, and humanity was spread thin across the cosmos, their colonies dotting distant planets. Earth had long since joined the Galactic Council, a collective of alien civilizations with its capital in the sprawling metropolis of Zeta Prime. The Council was a political labyrinth, often at odds with the human delegations that pushed for greater recognition and rights within the multi-species government. Ambassador Jonathan Hale, a seasoned diplomat and representative of Earth, had brought his young daughter Emily to Zeta Prime. It was meant to be a simple introduction to the complexities of interstellar diplomacy. Emily, with her bright eyes and relentless curiosity, saw it as an adventure. The towering buildings of Zeta Prime, with their exotic architectures melding numerous alien aesthetics, fascinated Emily. Jonathan, seeing his daughter's enthusiasm, felt a mix of pride and anxiety. "Stay close," he reminded her gently as they approached the council chambers. "I will, Dad," Emily chirped, clutching his hand. Inside, the chambers buzzed with activity. Various alien representatives conversed in myriad languages, their voices a symphony of the galaxy's diversity. Jonathan met with his peer, Ambassador Mackrell, a towering Traxian known for his firm but fair policies. "Jonathan, always a pleasure." Mackrell's voice boomed, his translator device smoothly converting his words into English. "Thank you, Mackrell. I've brought someone special today," Jonathan said, gesturing to Emily. "A future diplomat, perhaps?" Mackrell chuckled, his deep eyes twinkling as he looked down at her. "Maybe," Jonathan smiled. "She's here to learn." Their conversation was suddenly interrupted by a commotion. A group of counselors, part of a radical faction known for their extreme views, stormed through the chamber. Their leader, a fierce Galethan named Vrax, was visibly upset. "This council continues to ignore the outer sectors," Vrax roared, his voice carrying across the hall. "We demand action, not more empty promises." Jonathan pulled Emily closer, sensing the tension escalating. Mackrell frowned, stepping forward. "Vrax, this is neither the time nor the place for such disruptions. Let us discuss this calmly, not with threats." Vrax's glare was unyielding. "No more discussions, Mackrell. We've been patient enough." As security moved in to calm the situation, a stray energy pulse from one of the guard's disruptors ricocheted across the room. Time seemed to slow for Jonathan as the pulse headed straight towards where he and Emily stood. With no time to react fully, he could only pull Emily close, shielding her with his body. The energy pulse struck, and Emily's small frame went limp in his arms. Jonathan's world shattered in that heartbeat, his screams blending with the chaos that erupted around them. As medical personnel rushed to help, Mackrell helped Jonathan lay Emily down gently. Her eyes, once bright and curious, were still. She's gone," Jonathan stammered, his voice broken, tears streaming down his face. Mackrell looked on, his expression one of profound sorrow. "Jonathan, I am so deeply sorry." Jonathan turned to Vrax, his grief turning to fury. "Your recklessness has killed my daughter, an innocent child." Vrax looked back, the gravity of the situation dawning on him. Conflict, politics, and power struggles had all come at a terrible price. As the chaos settled and Emily was taken away, Jonathan stood, supported by Mackrell. He looked around at the stunned faces, their alien features marked with various expressions of shock and regret. "I came here to foster peace and understanding," Jonathan's voice echoed solemnly through the chamber. "But what peace can be maintained when even a child is not safe in your halls?" The impact of his words hung heavy in the air. The incident, a spark in the powder keg of galactic politics, was set to ignite a conflict that would challenge the very foundations of the Galactic Council. Jonathan, now a father mourning his child, would lead Earth to demand justice, a justice that would be served by awakening an ancient power long hidden among the stars. After the fall of Drakenhold, the Croc's forces were thrown into disarray, their command structure fractured. Jonathan Drake and the Zenith Alliance capitalized on this moment of weakness, launching relentless attacks across multiple fronts to further weaken the enemy. Yet, despite their successes, the Crocs were not a species to surrender easily. They regrouped for one final, desperate assault on the Zenith homeworld, Astra Prime. The Zenith capital braced for the incoming storm. Astra Prime's orbit was fortified with all available defenses, and the ground forces prepared for what could be the final battle. Jonathan and his trusted lieutenant, Mark Simmons, strategized day and night, knowing the importance of every decision made. As the Croc's fleet approached, a tense calm settled over Astra Prime. Jonathan addressed his troops, human and zenith alike, his voice resolute and inspiring. This is it, the battle that decides our fate. We stand not just for Astra Prime, but for all free beings in the galaxy. We stand united, and we will prevail. The battle commenced with the Crocs unleashing their full might. Their fleet, though diminished, was still formidable, barraging Astra Prime with devastating firepower. Jonathan coordinated the defense from the command center, directing the Zenith fleet's maneuvers and deploying intercept squads at critical junctures. The skies above Astra Prime lit up with the fires of battle, a chaotic ballet of explosions, laser fire, and the daring maneuvers of pilot heroes. On the ground, Croc's ground forces landed and engaged Zenith troops in fierce combat. The sounds of war echoed through the city streets, a grim symphony of survival. Mark led a rapid response team on the ground, moving quickly to reinforce positions that were in danger of being overrun. His leadership and bravery in the face of overwhelming odds rallied the Zenith troops, who fought with renewed vigor beside their human allies. Meanwhile, in space, Jonathan executed a risky maneuver that turned the tide. He feigned a retreat, drawing the Croc's fleet into a narrow passage between Astra Prime and its moons, where previously hidden Zenith minefields awaited. As he gave the signal, the mines detonated in a massive explosion, crippling much of the Croc's fleet. With the Croc's fleet in disarray, the Zenith forces pressed their advantage. From the command center, Jonathan ordered all ships to converge on the enemy, delivering a crushing blow. The Crocs, realizing their defeat was imminent, began to scatter, their fleet breaking apart under the relentless Zenith assault. On the ground, the news of the fleet's victory energized the troops. Mark, leading from the front, pushed forward, driving the remaining Croc's forces back. The battle for Astra Prime turned decisively in favor of the Zenith Alliance. As the last of the Croc's forces were defeated, a cheer erupted from the Zenith troops, echoing across the planet. The battle for Astra Prime was over, and with it, the war itself. In the aftermath, Jonathan stood before a gathering of troops and leaders from across the Zenith Alliance, his expression one of solemn pride. Today, we have secured not just a victory, but our future. Together we have faced the darkness, and together we have prevailed. General Kale, standing beside Jonathan, spoke with equal conviction. Captain Drake, your leadership and the bravery of your team have shown us all the strength of unity and the power of innovation. We are forever in your debt. As the celebrations began, Jonathan and Mark shared a quiet moment away from the crowd. We did it, Mark, Jonathan said, a slight smile breaking through his exhaustion. We did it. Mark nodded, clapping Jonathan on the shoulder. We sure did, but I have a feeling our work here isn't done yet. There's a whole galaxy out there that might need our help. Jonathan looked out over the city, its buildings now lit with the colors of victory. Wherever they need us, we'll be ready. But first, let's enjoy this victory. We've earned it. As the stars shone brightly above, the war was over, but for Jonathan Drake and his team, the journey was just beginning. They had not only saved Astra Prime, but also ensured that humanity would be a respected and integral part of the galactic community for generations to come. Deep within the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, a hidden array of colossal starships, known as the Ancient Fleet, lay dormant. These vessels, remnants of Earth's forgotten wars, had been secretly maintained and upgraded with cutting-edge technology, waiting for a day they might be needed once more. In the command center of the lead dreadnought, the USS Legacy, technicians and engineers bustled with activity, their movements swift and purposeful. Admiral Marcus Reynolds, a veteran of space warfare and the appointed commander of the Ancient Fleet, oversaw the activation with a steely gaze. Report, Marcus commanded, his voice echoing slightly in the vast, metal-clad command room. Lieutenant Harlan, his chief engineer, turned from a console array, his face illuminated by the soft blue light of the screens. Admiral, all systems are coming online. Propulsion, weapons, life support, all operational within optimal parameters. Marcus nodded, his mind on the task ahead. Communications? We've established secure channels to all vessels in the fleet and back to Earth Defense Command, replied Commander Jensen, the communications officer. Good. Begin the wake-up protocol for all crew members. We have little time to spare, Marcus ordered, turning to view the main holoscreen, which displayed the massive fleet slowly stirring to life. As the crew members awoke from their induced stasis, the atmosphere aboard the fleet buzzed with a mix of confusion and urgency. Marcus decided it was time to address them. He activated the fleet-wide intercom, his voice resonant and commanding. This is Admiral Marcus Reynolds. As you are aware, we have been activated under orders of the Earth Defense Ministry. We face a grave situation, a direct assault on one of our own by members of the Galactic Council. Our mission is to secure justice for the wrongful death of a young Earth citizen and demonstrate our capability to defend our people and our interests. The crew listened, their morale boosted by Marcus's strong leadership and clear objectives. They knew the stakes were high, and the mission was unlike any other they had prepared for. Back on Earth, Jonathan Hale watched the departure of the ancient fleet from a secure military facility, his heart a mix of vengeance and sorrow. General Walker stood beside him, offering silent solidarity. "Marcus is the best we have. He'll see this through," General Walker assured Jonathan, noticing the mix of emotions on his friend's face. Jonathan only nodded, his gaze fixed on the screen showing the USS Legacy leading the fleet out of the asteroid belt. "It's not just about retaliation, Adam. It's about making sure no one ever thinks they can do this to us again. Not at this cost." As the fleet set a course toward the outer rim of Council-controlled space, Marcus held a final briefing with his senior officers. "Our first target will be the Council's outermost defense station at Delpharion. It's heavily fortified, but I believe in the capabilities of this fleet and in each of you." The officers nodded, understanding the complexity of the assault. "We will use the element of surprise to our advantage," Marcus continued. "Stealth ships will lead, disabling their sensors and communications. Then, we strike with full force." Commander Zara Vance, the tactical officer, spoke up. "The station's schematics show a weak point in their southern quadrant. A precise strike there could cripple their defenses long enough for our forces to secure the station." "Excellent, Commander. Prepare your teams. We strike at 0600 hours. Let's show the Council the might of humanity. For Earth, for justice," Marcus concluded, his words firm and resolute. As the fleet moved silently through space, the men and women aboard prepared for the battle ahead, their resolve as unyielding as the ships they manned. The ancient fleet, a symbol of Earth's hidden power, was awake and ready to confront the stars. The silence of space near the Delpharion station was suddenly pierced by the arrival of the ancient fleet. The fleet's flagship, the USS Legacy, along with its stealth ships, made their approach under the cloak of advanced stealth technology. As they neared the outer defenses of the station, a tense atmosphere settled over the crew, every member acutely aware of the mission's critical importance. Admiral Marcus Reynolds stood on the bridge of the USS Legacy, his eyes fixed on the tactical displays. Beside him, Commander Zara Vance monitored the stealth ship's progress as they maneuvered into position. "Stealth units report they are in position and ready to deploy EMP charges," Zara announced, her voice steady despite the underlying tension. "Proceed with the operation. Let's take them by surprise," Marcus ordered. The stealth ships executed their orders flawlessly, releasing a series of synchronized EMP pulses that blanketed the station. Within moments, Delpharion's sensor arrays and external communications were disrupted, effectively blinding and isolating the station. With the station's defenses compromised, Marcus seized the moment for a decisive blow. "All units, this is Admiral Reynolds, begin the assault, target all primary defense systems." The USS Legacy and its accompanying dreadnoughts unleashed a barrage of laser fire and missiles, targeting key infrastructure points on the station. Explosions lit up the dark expanse of space as the station's outer defenses took direct hits. Inside the station's control center, chaos erupted among the alien crew members. Without their sensors, they were slow to respond, unable to fully assess the source or scale of the attack. Meanwhile, Marcus coordinated the fleet's movements from the USS Legacy. "Deploy the Marine units. I want that station under our control." Shuttle bays opened, releasing swarms of Marine transports that darted toward the damaged station. Armed with high-tech weaponry and combat exosuits, the Earth Marines swiftly entered the station, engaging in intense close-quarters combat. Back on Earth, Jonathan Hale watched the live feed of the operation from the military command center, gripping the edges of the console before him. Each report of progress from the front lines brought a mix of relief and intensified resolve. General Walker, standing next to him, provided real-time analysis. "The initial strike has been successful. The station's defense capabilities have been severely crippled." Jonathan nodded, his focus unwavering. "What's the status of the ground forces?" "They've penetrated the outer sectors and are moving towards central control. Resistance is stiff, but our forces are pushing through," General Walker updated. As the battle raged on, Marcus received continuous updates on his fleet's progress. "Commander Vance, status on the Marine advance?" We have secured sectors 1 through 4, heavy resistance in Sector 5, but Captain Ramirez and his team are making headway, Zara replied, her eyes scanning the incoming data. Keep the pressure on. Every minute we hold the station increases our advantage, Marcus instructed, aware that the longer they maintained control, the more likely the Council would have to negotiate on Earth's terms. After hours of intense fighting, the station's command center was finally breached. The Earth forces, led by Captain Ramirez, secured the area, capturing key Council military personnel. Marcus allowed himself a brief moment of satisfaction as he reported back to Earth. Madam President, Delpharion is under our control. We're ready to move on to the next objective. President Chen's voice came through clearly, a mix of relief and determination evident. Well done, Admiral. This is a significant victory for Earth. Prepare for the next phase. We must maintain momentum. As the ancient fleet regrouped and prepared for their next move, the message was clear. Earth was no longer on the defensive. They were now a formidable force in galactic politics, ready to fight for their place and their people. The success at Delpharion had sent ripples through the Galactic Council, shaking the confidence of many member species. News of Earth's resolute and effective strike had spread, warning of the newly awakened military power of humanity. Admiral Marcus Reynolds and his ancient fleet did not pause, quickly setting their sights on their next strategic target. The planet Alaris, a critical hub for Council military logistics. On the bridge of the USS Legacy, Marcus convened with his senior officers to plan the assault. The holographic map in the center of the room displayed Alaris and its extensive defense systems. Alaris is heavily fortified, more so than Delpharion, Marcus briefed. It serves as a supply and command station for the Council's outer defenses. Taking Alaris will disrupt their operations across several sectors. Commander Zara Vance, tactical officer, pointed to the hologram showing the planet's orbital rings. There are multiple defense platforms and a fleet of patrol ships. It's a tough nut to crack, but we have a few advantages. Lieutenant Harlan chimed in. Our stealth technology is superior, Admiral. They won't see us coming until it's too late. We can use that to disable their platforms before they can mount an effective counter. Marcus nodded in agreement. We'll use a similar approach to Delpharion then. Stealth units will disable the platforms. Once their eyes are out, we strike hard and fast with everything we have. The fleet moved into position, cloaked in the shadow of a nearby moon. As night fell on Alaris, the darkness was pierced by the silent flicker of the stealth ships advancing towards their targets. Back on Earth, Jonathan Hale monitored the operation from the command center, his heart racing with every update. The stakes were higher now. Alaris was crucial to the Council's military network, and its fall would be a significant blow. The stealth ships executed their mission flawlessly, deploying EMP charges that knocked out the defense platforms. With the platforms disabled, the main fleet surged forward. Marcus gave the order, and the space around Alaris erupted in a blaze of blaster fire and missile explosions. The Council's response was frantic, but disjointed. Their patrol fleet, caught off guard, scrambled to retaliate but found themselves outmatched by the ancient fleet's firepower and tactics. On the ground, Earth's Marines led by Captain Ramirez landed under heavy cover fire, engaging Council troops in fierce ground combat. The battle was brutal, with intense firefights breaking out in the forests and plains of Alaris. As the ground forces pushed towards the main command center, Admiral Reynolds directed the space battle, keeping the Council's reinforcements at bay. Keep pressing them, he ordered. We need to give our ground forces as much time as we can. Hours into the conflict, the tide turned decisively in Earth's favor. Captain Ramirez's troops captured the command center, securing critical intelligence on Council operations. Admiral Marcus Reynolds, seeing the victory within grasp, issued the final commands to secure the planet. All units, consolidate gains and fortify positions. We expect counterattacks, but Alaris is ours. When the battle subsided, the USS Legacy loomed over Alaris, now under Earth's control. Marcus addressed his crew, his voice resonant through the ship's intercom. Today we have shown the Council and the galaxy that Earth will not only defend its own, but also take the fight to those who threaten us. Well done. The victory at Alaris marked a pivotal moment in the conflict, significantly weakening the Council's military presence in the sector and demonstrating Earth's resolve and capability in interstellar warfare. As news of the victory reached Earth, it was met with widespread celebration and a renewed sense of purpose, knowing that their fleet could indeed protect them and challenge the galactic status quo. Following the resounding victory at Alaris, morale among Earth's forces soared. but Admiral Marcus Reynolds knew the hardest part of the war still lay ahead. The Galactic Council, now aware of Earth's capabilities and resolve, would tighten defenses around their core worlds, making any direct assault exceedingly perilous. In the strategic planning room aboard the USS Legacy, Marcus convened with his senior officers to discuss the next phase of their campaign. "We've struck hard and fast, gaining significant ground," he began, his voice steady, reflecting both the gravity and confidence of their situation. "But if we're to end this conflict on favorable terms, we need more than firepower. We need intelligence." Commander Zara Vance nodded in agreement. "Our next target should be the Council's capital. It's their power center, but it's a fortress. Before we can think about taking it, we need to know exactly what we're up against. That's why I propose we send a covert team to infiltrate the capital. We need eyes inside," Marcus declared, turning to look at each of his officers in turn. Lieutenant Harlan, the fleet's intelligence officer, responded with a cautious tone. "It's heavily guarded, and their security systems are the best in the galaxy. It'll be risky." Marcus smiled thinly. "Which is why we'll be sending our best." He turned his attention to a new face in the room, Special Operations Commander Eli Nash, a seasoned operative known for his cunning and stealth. "Commander Nash, you've led successful covert ops before. I want you to lead this one." Eli, a man of few words, simply nodded. "I'll handpick the team. We'll get you what you need." Preparations began immediately. Eli selected a small elite team of operatives skilled in espionage and combat. Their mission, to infiltrate the Council's capital, gather critical intelligence on their defense protocols, and, if possible, sabotage key systems. The team departed under the cover of darkness, aboard a stealth ship designed to mimic common commercial models seen throughout Council space. As they approached the capital, the tension was palpable, each team member acutely aware of the stakes. Once on the ground, Eli and his team blended into the bustling capital city, their disguises as traders from a neutral system raising no suspicions. The city was a hub of activity, with various alien species going about their daily lives, unaware of the human operatives moving silently among them. Eli's first objective was to access the central data hub, a task easier said than done. The hub was located deep within the Council's administrative district, guarded by state-of-the-art security measures. Using a combination of hacking tools and physical stealth, the team made their way through the labyrinthine corridors. Back on the USS Legacy, Marcus awaited updates with bated breath. The success of this mission was critical to planning the final assault on the Council. Each passing hour without communication added to the tension. Finally, a secure transmission came through. Eli's voice was low, but clear. "Admiral, we're in. We've accessed the data hub and are downloading everything now. We've also planted charges to disrupt their power grid on your go." Marcus's response was immediate and decisive. "Execute the disruption and exfil as planned. Great work, Nash." The sabotage went off without a hitch, plunging key parts of the capital into darkness and chaos. Eli and his team used the confusion to cover their escape, leaving behind a city grappling with sudden disorder. Once safely back aboard their ship, the team headed for the rendezvous with the USS Legacy. Eli handed Marcus a data chip containing a trove of valuable intelligence. "Good work, Commander. This information will give us the edge we need," Marcus said, clasping Eli's shoulder in gratitude. With the critical data in hand, Marcus now had a clearer picture of the Council's defenses and vulnerabilities. It was time to plan the final strike, one that would hopefully bring the conflict to a swift and victorious conclusion for Earth. With the critical intelligence gathered from the infiltration of the Council's capital, Admiral Marcus Reynolds was now prepared to orchestrate the final assault on the heart of the Galactic Council's power. The data retrieved by Commander Eli Nash's team had revealed several strategic vulnerabilities in the Council's defenses, giving the ancient fleet a crucial advantage. Aboard the USS Legacy, in the dim light of the war room, Marcus and his senior officers pored over the holographic displays of the capital's layout. The atmosphere was tense, charged with the anticipation of what was to come. "Thanks to Commander Nash's efforts, we've identified weak points in their orbital platforms and ground defenses," Marcus began, pointing to the marked areas on the hologram. "We have a narrow window to strike before they can fortify these vulnerabilities further." Commander Zara Vance, her eyes scanning the tactical displays, added, "Our approach will need to be multi-phase, space engagement followed by a ground assault. We'll need to coordinate our attacks precisely to overwhelm their defenses." "Exactly," Marcus confirmed. "We'll launch a feint attack here," he indicated a strongly fortified sector, "to draw their fleet out of position. Meanwhile, our main forces will strike directly at these weak points. Timing will be everything. The fleet moved into position, hidden by the shadow of a nearby moon. As the USS Legacy and its companion vessels powered up their weapon systems, Marcus issued the command to begin the operation. The first phase went as planned. A diversionary fleet made a blatant, aggressive maneuver towards one of the Council's stronger defensive lines. As expected, the Council's forces scrambled to respond, pulling their ships away from the more critical areas, leaving them exposed. Simultaneously, the main part of the ancient fleet launched a full-scale assault. Space around the capital erupted in chaos as Earth's ships unleashed a torrent of fire on the orbital platforms, exploiting the vulnerabilities highlighted by Eli's team. On the ground, Earth's Marines, led by Captain Ramirez, began their descent in dropships, weaving through debris and anti-air fire. The ground assault targeted key infrastructure points, aiming to disable the planetary defenses and secure landing zones for further troop deployments. Marcus watched the progress from the bridge of the USS Legacy, his expression grim yet focused. Every report from his officers, every burst of static from the comms, added to the high-stakes tension that filled the bridge. As the space battle turned in favor of Earth, the ground forces made significant headway. Ramirez reported, "We've secured the primary defense hub and are moving towards the central command. Resistance is heavy, but we're pushing through." "Keep the pressure on, Captain. Help is on the way," Marcus responded, signaling for more troops to be deployed to the surface. The battle for the capital was long and fierce, stretching both Earth's resources and the resolve of its fighters. However, the meticulous planning and the bravery of the troops gradually tipped the scales. By nightfall, Earth's forces had captured key positions across the city, surrounding the Council's main command center. In the final push, Marcus himself led a contingent of his best soldiers into the heart of the Council's command. The fighting was brutal, but the determination of Earth's forces was unyielding. As the Council's leaders were taken into custody, a hush fell over the city. Marcus, standing in the Council's once impenetrable command center, spoke directly to the captured leaders. "This battle could have been avoided. You chose to ignore our pleas and our rights. Today, your failure to respect those rights has cost you everything." The fall of the capital marked a decisive victory for Earth. As news of the victory spread across human territories, celebrations erupted, not only for the triumph, but for the hope of a new era of respect and security for humanity among the stars. Marcus's leadership and the courage of countless soldiers had not only avenged Emily's death, but had also reshaped the political landscape of the galaxy. In the aftermath of the Galactic Council's capital's fall, the balance of power shifted dramatically. Admiral Marcus Reynolds, now overseeing the transition from wartime command to peace negotiations, stood at the forefront of a new era. The captured Council leaders, once proud and dismissive of Earth's capabilities, now faced the reality of their defeat and the serious implications it held for the future of intergalactic relations. On Earth, Jonathan Hale watched the live broadcast of the Council's leaders being led to the negotiation table. Surrounded by supporters and other bereaved families, Jonathan felt a complex mixture of satisfaction and sorrow. The victory was bittersweet, bought with too many lives, including that of his beloved daughter, Emily. President Laura Chen and a delegation of Earth's top diplomats, including Jonathan, arrived at the capital to begin the peace talks. The council chamber, once a place of vibrant discourse and sometimes heated debate, now bore the solemnity of a much-changed reality. Jonathan, no longer just a grieving father, but a symbol of Earth's resilience and quest for justice, was asked to speak at the opening of the negotiations. His words would set the tone for the difficult discussions ahead. Standing before the assembled leaders, both human and alien, Jonathan's voice resonated with a firm resolve. "We come here not as conquerors, but as advocates for justice and security. The loss of innocent lives, including my daughter's, must never be in vain or forgotten. This tragic conflict was a result of oversight and a lack of mutual respect. Today, we must lay the groundwork for a new chapter where such oversights no longer occur." The alien leaders listened, their expressions a mix of resignation and cautious hope. Vrax, the Goliathan leader whose actions had indirectly led to the conflict, now showed a depth of regret in his eyes. Speaking after Jonathan, Vrax addressed the chamber. "The lessons of this war will not be disregarded. We, the members of the Council, owe a great debt to Earth and must work to rebuild trust and cooperation." Negotiations continued for weeks, with Earth asserting its newfound position of strength to secure better protection and representation for humans throughout the galaxy. Under Marcus's watchful eye, military forces remained alert, but gradually shifted from combat readiness to peacekeeping roles. The final agreement laid out terms for an expanded role for Earth within the Council, including oversight of joint security initiatives and a permanent seat on a newly established Peace and Security Committee. It was a monumental victory for Earth's diplomacy and a testament to its risen status among the stars. As the agreement was signed, Jonathan felt a sense of closure. He visited the memorial that had been erected in the capital for those lost in the war, including Emily. Touching the cold stone, he whispered a promise to his daughter. Your memory will live on, not just in what we've ended, but in what we've begun. Back on Earth, celebrations erupted. Humanity had not only defended its honor, but it also emerged as a key player on the galactic stage. Admiral Marcus Reynolds, hailed as a hero, chose to retire, believing his duty was fulfilled with the war's end and the secured peace. The story concludes with Jonathan returning to his home, looking up at the stars. The galaxy was vast, filled with both wonder and danger, but now there was a path forward, a path of mutual respect and vigilance, ensuring that no child, human or alien, would ever again be a casualty of unchecked ambition. The ancient fleet, once Earth's hidden sword, now served as a beacon of its commitment to peace and justice, ready to defend but also to aid in building a better future for all civilizations under the stars.